first game of last year, the Sharks had the home team singing the blues. But they finished 99 on a sour note as St. Louis walked away with an OT win. Can the Sharks compose their first home win of 2000? The rematch with the Blues is next. Owen Nolan and the Sharks are still trying to climb out of a slump that started way back in the 1900s. They'll try and do it tonight as they host one of the NHL's hottest teams, the St. Louis Blues. Hi again, everybody. Alongside Steve Conroy, I'm Randy Hahn. We welcome you to the Shark Tank. Welcome back live to the Shark Tank. Sharks and the St. Louis Blues, and here's a look at the Dodge keys to the game. Steve?
Well, the first thing the Sharks have to do, stand up and protect the blue line, and I'm talking about the defensemen. This St. Louis team, an excellent rushing team. They have speed. Dimitra, Hanzus, lots of speed through the neutral ice area. They've got to close those gaps. Time for Vinny to stand up. Yeah, he knows it. He hasn't been playing his best hockey over the last 5 or 6 games. He's going to get better on the power play and even strength, and the Sharks should be successful. And finally, what the Sharks have to do, take note of Pronger and McGinnis. Whenever they're on the ice, and they're on the ice an awful lot, both of those guys play almost 30 minutes per game. They have to be very aware. Very good shots. They like to jump in, be the fourth forward on rushes.
And there is the captain of the Blues, Chris Pronger, as we check our Southwest Airlines starters in goal. Steve Shields, last year 15 wins, a career high, and he still has an excellent save percentage. One of the tops in the NHL. Roman Turek leading the NHL in goals against average, 2.05. And it ought to be noted, Turek has never lost in his career to the San Jose Sharks. A record of 5-0-1, and they score! It took 8 seconds, but the Sharks have the lead.
And Stéphane Matteau scores against his former team, the St. Louis Blues. Of course, Matteau coming from St. Louis to the Sharks. This is right off the draw, and Aki Ricci wins it. What a great breakout here by the Sharks. You'll see Matteau get the puck and shoot it high over the glove of Turek. Beats Turek, who catches with his right hand. And Matteau gives the Sharks the quick 1-0 lead.
5th goal of the year for Stéphane Matteau. It comes at the 8-second mark. And the Sharks off to a good start here against the St. Louis Blues. Good starts have not been something that the Sharks have put together a lot recently. They gave up the first goal again against Florida here on the weekend. But Matteau gets them on the board here early. Ricci and Sturm picking up the assist at the 8-second mark, and that's got to be a little unsettling to Roman Turek, and we'll see how he deals with that early adversity. Here's Bartechko now for the Blues. Michael Hanzus trailing, gets the pass, fires it at Shields. He knocks it down and covers it up.
Well, important for Shields to make that first save. You mentioned Turek down at the other end has still not made a save. And look at Stéphane Matteau. It's been a long time since he's scored a goal. You see the misplay here by the St. Louis Blues. Kind of a turnover from Pronger, and it's Marco Sturm. A nice cross-ice pass to Matteau, who goes high with that shot and beats Turek on the right side.
We have just witnessed the San Jose Sharks record, the fastest goal to start a game in Sharks history. 8 seconds. The old record of 15 seconds held by Andrei Nazarov. Now here's a chance for the Blues as Shields covers up. Nazarov scored 15 seconds into a game against Vancouver back in '96.
Well, that's going to help the whole bench. Obviously, the Sharks with just 1 win in their last 5 games. They need a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of an emotional lift, and that certainly gives it to you when you get that within the first minute. And obviously a bit of a monkey off of Stéphane Matteau's back, who's been down on himself a little bit, hasn't been scoring as much as he would have liked. Team an awful lot.
Face-off in the Blues zone. Craig Conroy in the face-off circle on this line with Jochen Hecht on the left wing for St. Louis. And Mike Eastwood, who's really had a fine year for the Blues on the right wing. Andy Sutton paired with Jeff Norton back on defense for the Sharks. Now Owen Nolan trying to force it out. It comes to the left side. And a shot by Yake goes wide as he gets another chance and scores! Terry Yake with a one-timer, and the Blues tie it up.
Just a little too much pressure from this line, who showed great puck possession deep in the San Jose zone. That's against the #1 line of the San Jose Sharks. And Terry Yake with a one-timer. Steve Shields, prior to this, had made 2 or 3 really good saves from in close. St. Louis has 4 shots right now. You see McGinnis with a blast from off the side, and there's that quick centering pass. Steve Shields just can't get back across his crease. See, he's committed on this first shot. He's down now, kind of out, tries to get back to his right. The quick shot from Yake, and he ties it at 1.
So very quickly, we've had a couple of goals here early on in the first period. And now Patrick Marleau for the Sharks. Mike Rafchi taking it into the corner, held on to by one of the Blues, and Tyson Nash for St. Louis works it all the way back to the San Jose line. Yake's goal, just his 4th from Conroy and Al McKinnon. Time of that goal, 1:23. Here's a chance for Kolyuk. Oh, Turek just covered up ahead of Patrick Marleau, who tried to jam it out from under his glove anyway, and the Blues taking some exception to that.
We saw the follow-up attempt by one of the forwards from San Jose. Turek trying to get his glove over the puck. Bobby Basson, a recent free agent acquisition, playing in Europe. Here's the original shot from Kolyuk. Turek doesn't look real good here. Bobbles the puck a little bit, and you see Marleau going hard to the net. He gets a rough ride from the defenseman. Make that Bobby Basson the centerman on the play. Turek, good size. We mentioned he catches with his right hand. Not a lot of goaltenders in the NHL do that. 6'3", 215 pounds. His nickname is Large, and he's an awful big man between the pipes for St. Louis.
Marleau stays on to take this draw against Handzus, who wins it and clears it back for Chris Pronger. The odds-on favorite here at the halfway point of the season to win his first Norris Trophy. Pronger having a great year as he controls the puck just inside the Blues line. Handzus comes ahead with Dimitra and Bartechko. This all Slovakian line for the Blues. Nice dump pass by Dimitra, but it's intercepted. Marleau up for Sundstrom. He's got trouble though. Now it's played in by Handzus. He wanted Dimitra, and again St. Louis causing havoc inside the Sharks zone as the Sharks can't clear it out. Here's Handzus. Drop pass, control. Bartechko tied up by Stewart, but he keeps the feet moving. Bartechko does. Handzus to Dimitra. Dimitra trying to turn off Gary Suter. Up the middle, Bartechko's shot. Stopped by Shields, rebound, and Marleau just slides it back to the Sharks netminder, who wisely freezes it.
Well, a lot of talent on that line, the all-Slovakian line, and also a lot of speed.
Here's the line pairings for the Sharks. Pretty much the same as what went against Florida Saturday. The major exception being with that Ricci line messed up in the absence of Todd Harvey. Mateau's been moved up to that line. Sturm's moved over to the right side. And then that 4th line now with Lowry and Stern playing with Sutter. The other night, Mateau was on that 4th line on the left wing.
Well, obviously, Daryl Sutter's still looking for some intensity. He's going to have to look a little harder this game with Todd Harvey being out. I'll tell you what, San Jose right now, the team feels it's playing well, just a little shy in the offensive department, or they figured they would have had 2 or 3 wins over the last 4 games.
Card Persson plays it up to center ice and took a hit from Ron Stern. And we've got an offside call against the Blues. St. Louis unbeaten in their last 6 games. They are 4-0-2 coming into tonight's contest as they start a tough road stretch. 10 of their next 12 away from the Kiel Center. As we look at Joel Quenneville, who right now might be the leading candidate for Coach of the Year, the kind of season St. Louis is having.
Well, absolutely. Former assistant coach with the Colorado Avalanche. He became head coach of the St. Louis Blues back in January '97. He's done an admirable job here.
The Blues controlling it, feeding it up to center ice. Mike Rafchi sends it back in, but the Sharks caught in an offside position as Ron Stern comes back into the lineup tonight after missing the last couple of games due to that slash he took on the back of his leg, which resulted in a cut on the road trip. He's missed the last couple.
You see what he brings to the table last year with 158 penalty minutes, a very aggressive player. his first year in Calgary, first full year in Calgary, had 338 penalty minutes, and that's exactly what Ronnie Stern does best, finishes checks.
Stern injured in Chicago in that Sharks 4-1 win, which was their last victory. Since then, they've tied at Edmonton and then lost 4-2 to Mike Vernon and the Florida Panthers here on the weekend. Jeff Norton back on defense with Andy Sutton. Sends it ahead to the youngster who got his world rocked there by Jamal Myers. Myers coming in. He didn't really move Sutton too far back. Andy's a little tough to move off the puck. Here's Bob Basson leading the attack for St. Louis. A pass up the right side for Myers, and he flips a shot up high that Shields will glove and hang on to. And now Andy Sutton giving Jamal Myers a little payback. Bob Basson comes in, gets his stuck up on Sutton, and then McKinnis cruises over as well.
This is a pretty tough line out there for the St. Louis Blues. Bobby Basson between Tyson Nash, an aggravating player, and Jamal Myers knows how to handle himself. Here we'll see the scuffle. Here's where Myers meets up with Sutton, and you're right, Randy, a little bit of a payback there for the hit earlier by Myers. I think Myers got an inadvertent stick from his own player while he was lying down.
From the standpoint of Sutton, though, you'd like to take somebody to the penalty box with you in a situation like that after the whistle, but he didn't. And Sutton will sit down himself for the next 2 minutes, and the Blues will go on the power play.
Well, Andy Sutton has only played a couple of games over the last 12. Stepped in well against the Florida Panthers. And of course, not playing with Brad Stewart tonight. He might see a little more ice time.
St. Louis, as you might expect, with a pretty good power play, the way Turgeon has gone this year with the great weapons they have on the blue line in Pronger and McKinnis. And there apparently was some confusion as to the call against Sutton. We had it right. It was roughing, and one of our two referees, Terry Gregson, came over to inform the official scorers of the call. Bernard DeGrasse, the other referee tonight, gets 2 refs on the ice, along with linesman Brad Lazarowicz and David Brisebois. Now St. Louis power play with the score tied 1-1 here in the first period. And here's the key to it, Al McInnes. Over to Pronger. Pronger comes over the line, gives it to Scott Young. Young wheeling it around for Dimitra. Now Hesht back for Young. Hesht has played well against the Sharks so far this year. Here's McInnes, lets it rip, but he missed high and wide. Now Jeff Norton right up the middle to McInnes, and they score. What is Jeff Norton thinking there? He throws it right up the gut to Al McInnes, who blasts it home.
You know, I think he was looking for Jeff Friesen, one of the penalty killers, playing up front, hoping maybe he had an easier out. I don't think Jeff Norton thought he had a lot of time. Tried to make a quick pass. Nobody there. You'll see him get the original puck off the end boards. He'll turn around, and I think he spots Jeff Friesen, but Friesen's going the other way. And that puck gets tipped in front. I don't know whether it's off Scott Young or one of the Shark players.
I think it went in off Norton.
Might have even gone in off Jeff Norton in front. Scott Young standing right there. Yeah, from that angle, definitely. So Jeff Norton, not a good shift for him. First the pass that went to nobody, and then that puck going in off him on the power play.
An unassisted goal for McInnes. It comes on the power play and takes, you've got to think, a little of the steam out of the Sharks' quick start when they scored just 8 seconds into this game. Now Pellerin with the Blues trying to work it up the wing. Stewart changing sides over to Jeff Friesen. Pronger knocks him down. Jeff gets back up, though, and sends it ahead to Gary Suter. 2-1 St. Louis. 2 fairly good defensive teams, and we've had a lot of scoring inside the first 5 minutes.
Well, Steve Shields, not really much of a chance there. Not when it goes in off for your own player. And he mentioned he struggled last game, I think, against the Florida Panthers, trying to do just a little too much. Coming out to play the puck. We'll get another look at this. You see Jeff Norton here throwing it up the gut. Well, maybe that was to his defense partner, Gary Suter, and I don't think Suter was expecting it. Missed him, went right to Al McInnes, and you saw that puck kind of pinball around a little bit before it ended up going off of Jeff Norton and into the net.
Face off down to the Shark zone. Hanzus cleanly winning the drop back to McInnes. He lets it rip. Hits the top of the glass behind Shields. and goes out of play. Al MacInnis with one of the most dangerous weapons in all of the NHL, a slap shot that has already broken 2 hands of netminders this year.
And you know, the thing that I like about him the most, and I played with him for 3 years in Calgary, is the fact that he always seems to get his shot through. Yeah, every once in a while it'll go off a leg or off a body, but 9 times out of 10 he's got his head up. He always gets that shot through on net.
Shields handling the shot, and now it's back up to center ice. Handzus gets it right back for the Blues to Dimitra, and they fire it in. This is a very good line. These 3 Slovakian players, Bartechko, Dimitra, and Handzus, really have an understanding out on the ice together. We didn't see them last time the Sharks were in St. Louis. Dimitra was injured, and Bartechko was a healthy scratch. After he can't hold the zone as it comes back. Steve Shields controlling it off the boards, and just gets it around past Dimitra to Marcus Ragnarsson. Blues control the boards, however, as Craig Conroy puts it in the corner. Now Conroy giving way to Marcus Ragnarsson, and he'll play it off the boards and out. MacInnis trying to keep it away from Korolyuk.
Well, the Sharks spending just a little too much time in their own end. They're not making good passes. This St. Louis team speedy up front. They're putting a lot of pressure on the defensemen. As a result, some turnovers.
Here's Marleau with a steal, but Pronger quickly gets across. Now he ties Marleau up in the corner, and the Blues come out as Conroy got popped by Brad Stewart, and that gets the crowd going, and it gets Korolyuk going with a pass to the side that's blocked, and the Sharks with a good opportunity there, but Alexander Korolyuk's pass got tied up in traffic. Here's Marleau to the blue line. He's checked by Conroy, continuing to pursue it as Korolyuk gloves it down. Now Marleau out to Sundstrom, back to Marleau, but Pronger stayed with Patrick Marleau. Here's Korolyuk, swept off his stick by Conroy, and Yeakel drag it out to center ice.
Well, that's the most success the San Jose line has had deep in St. Louis's zone, and it was because they got physical. And look at the physical play, too, of Brad Stewart, probably the most physical player against the Florida Panthers their last game out.
Here's Nash. He comes out to play this, and puts it off the boards and out of play. And now more sticks coming up as Jamal Myers and Dave Lowry go at it. 2-1 Blues.
I am sick and tired of hearing that our league is inferior to the NHL.
Yeah!
It is time for us to show the world what they are missing.
Yeah!
Let us take our product to the people.
Yeah!
To do this, we must first name a commissioner, someone who is savvy, connected, someone with a past. All those in favor, raise your hand. Where is Murph? What? Oh, why do I bother? Look.
Al MacInnis and the Blues up 2-1 here in the first period.
You see Jeff Norton take a quick look here at Gary Suter, and that pass intended for Suter. Suter wasn't expecting it. You see Al MacInnis makes them pay.
Right now, St. Louis out shooting the Sharks 8-2, and we've not played half the period yet. Here's Persson trying to get it up the middle. Now cleared back into the corner as Nash gets in the face of Dave Lowry.
Well, Tyson Nash has quickly become public enemy #1 about a lot of the teams he plays against. An aggravating player. He doesn't have a lot of size. He's only a little over 6 feet. They listed him at 185 pounds. You see second among rookies with 77 penalty minutes. And that's exactly what he does. He talks an awful lot to the opposition, tries to get under their skin.
Well, it's awfully tough to get noticed around the NHL as a rookie unless you're scoring a lot of goals like Scott Gomez is in New Jersey, or unless you're playing some outstanding goal if you happen to be fortunate enough as a rookie netminder to get to play. But Tyson Nash has managed to find himself in the headlines quite a bit.
Yeah, he's making a name for himself, and he doesn't drop the gloves very often. He's the kind of guy that likes to instigate, get guys riled up, and he really tries to draw penalties, and he's been successful doing it thus far this year.
Nash, a 10th round draft pick back in '94, drafted 247. That's incredibly long odds to make it to the NHL, but he's here. And MacInnis now up to center ice for Scott Young, who lets one rip. Big rebound. Came toward Mike Eastwood, but Rathje was able to clear it away. Now Friesen unable to get to it ahead of McInnes as the Sharks trail by a goal here in the first period. If you've just joined us, San Jose set a franchise record scoring 8 seconds in, and Stefan Matteau bagged his 5th, but the Blues have bounced back with 2 unanswered.
You got to hand it to St. Louis too. When you get scored on within the first 10 seconds, pretty easy to get back on your heels, but they got the puck deep on San Jose with a couple of turnovers and find themselves in the lead.
Pronger out to center. This is Bartechko. He'll come wide to the left. A snapshot that's wide. In the corner, Stewart ties up his man, but it comes loose to Dimitra. He looks for the return pass from Handzus. Now Handzus into the corner. It comes out to Marco Sturm. Sturm trying to fight off the check from Reardon. And Roman Turek fires this one out of play. I didn't see it go off any glass. And I think that's going to be a penalty to St. Louis.
Well, it should be. And I don't see the referee. Oh, yeah, that's right. We've got 2 referees, so that a referee down low got it. Roman Turek, who likes to handle the puck, came out. Got a little too much loft on this clearing attempt, though. We'll go right over the glass. You see the long dump in. Turek comes out. That forechecker rushed him just a little bit. Pretty good strength there from Turek, putting that over the glass right at the blue line.
Sharks Hockey is brought to you by your Northern California Ford stores, home of the all-new Ford Focus. Live it live. And serving the penalty will be Pavel Dimitra for St. Louis. 2 minutes for delay of game to Roman Turek. Now the Sharks with their first power play of the game. And it's Gary Suter at the point, giving it to Owen Nolan. He lets it rip, and Turek with the save.
And that's exactly what San Jose wants to do tonight. Keep it simple. 1 or 2 passes, then a shot on net. That's exactly what Owen Nolan does. Loads up and fires. Turek with a good save, no rebound. That was a heavy shot off the stick of the captain. Here it is. They just won the draw. 1 shovel pass over to the boards. You see Nolan sees a bit of traffic. Bergevin wisely steps out of the way right at the last second, giving Turek a really good look at it. He makes the stop.
Turek went down in an awful hurry there.
I'm sure that hurt him a little bit.
There's Suter again, steering it over to Nolan. Now Stewart looking for the one-timer. It wasn't there. He got the pass away, but Pronger blocked it, and now it comes out of the corner out of play. Still a minute 39 to go in the Sharks power play. Power play has gone pretty cold over the last couple of weeks as well. Sharks on a stretch right now where they're 1 for their last 26 on the power play. That was a goal by Alexander Korolyuk up in Edmonton a couple of games ago. And before that, the last time they scored on the power play was ironically at St. Louis when Mike Ricci bagged one.
When we talked to Daryl Sutter this morning, he said it's kind of a microcosm of the way the team's played lately, and he was referring to their star players. Gary Suter, of course, injured a little bit, hasn't been at 100%, but he said that Vinny's been struggling, and he thinks that's the biggest reason the power play has struggled over the last 6-7 games.
Damphus out there between Friesen and Nolan, with Suter and Stewart on the point. Suter with a sore hand that's really bothered him since the last game against the Blues. He was slashed by Chris Pronger, but he's played through the injury, as has Nolan, who's had a sore glued muscle, and he's just almost back to 100%. Here's Stewart, keeps it in nicely at the line. Tied up by Handzus, dumps it ahead for Friesen. Pronger gets in the way of that. Now Damphus comes across ice. They get it free to Gary Suter. Suter fires a wrist shot in. And the rebound hops over Friesen's stick. And it's cleared out by St. Louis.
And that's all you need. It doesn't have to be a hard shot as long as somebody's in front for either the deflection, the screen, or possibly the rebound. And Jeff Friesen in perfect position off that seemingly harmless shot from the blue line.
Now sent in by Suter. Nolan behind the net. Gives to Damphus. Back to Stewart. Stewart to Vinny Damphus. Damphus working the half-board, back to Stewart, back to Damphus, gives up the shot, back to Stewart. That blast blocked by one of the defenders, and cleared out nicely by Conroy as Suter had fallen.
Daryl Sutter wanted to see more shots from the point. As a result, has Brad Stewart back there playing on the #1 power play. Of course, earlier over the last 5 or 6 games, we've seen 4 forwards out there for San Jose with the extra man.
Korolyuk dishing over to Marcus Ragnarsson, on to Marleau, on to Sundstrom. In some traffic, it's tipped to the boards, but the Sharks still with it. Marleau on the far side, back to Sundstrom. He tries to give it back to Patrick Marleau, but they're bottled up there with a couple of Blues players. Rathje just keeps it away from Eastwood, who trips him. Now Korolyuk with the puck as the fans cry out for a penalty on Mike Eastwood. They probably don't have a bad argument there. No question about it. Eastwood hauled Rathje down. Demitra out of the box, and the power play's over as Ragnarsson almost took the head off Turek with that shot. Here's a chance, Sundstrom, and he missed an opening as the goal light came on, but the shot was wide. Even the goal judge thought that Sundstrom should have put that one away. Said he'd love to have that one back. Here's Demitra out to McInnes, winds up, but it's blocked. And Marco Sturm will take it up the wing. Here's Sturm down the wing with Marleau. The pass, and it hopped past Patrick Marleau. Marco Sturm unable to get a clean pass away. Now back come the Blues. Harry Yake, who has one of their 2 goals, dropping it for Demitra. Here's Demitra behind the net, checked by Mike Ricci. And Ricci will get control of the puck and send it ahead to Sturm. Now Sturm to Jeff Norton as the Sharks change on the go. Norton's pass intended for Ricci almost got through to him. Now dumped into the corner by Reardon. Here's Mateau. Makes a move around. Yake to the side, and the net comes off. Reardon now going at Mike Ricci, and a pile up behind the net again.
Mr. Reardon's gone. No!
7:50 left in the first period. We'll be back.
Hey, baby, check out the hippest fish in the bay as Sharky's stepping out for some Saturday night Sharks fever, only on Fox Sports Net. Saturday nights get ready for action as cool as the ice it's played on. So pull out your best white suit and slip on those platform shoes, baby. It's more fun than a fish should be allowed to have. The Sharks face the Kings, Saturday night at 7. Sharks Saturday Night Fever, only on Fox Sports Net.
Sharks about to go on another power play. Let's look back at their last power play just a few seconds ago.
Well, you know, Gary Suter and Brad Stewart had been out there about 1:20, and Daryl Sutter obviously wanted to get a point across, and he goes down to Gary Suter, talking to him about what he wants to see on the power play, offering some suggestions. You see Gary Suter taking it. This is all during the last half of the power play. Of course, the Sharks unsuccessful with the man advantage.
Penalty to St. Louis came on that last play as Todd Reardon goes off for roughing at 12-10. Chance for the Sharks to get back in this. Here's Nolan. Oh, and he gave up the shot. And there's the shot by Suter that was blocked. Oh, and Nolan looked like he was in scot-free.
It was a nice feed, and I think he just tried to make a quick pass to Gary Suter, hoping for the one-timer. Suter had to play it, couldn't shoot it cleanly.
Like Rafsky said yesterday, our power play is getting too fancy. And I think that was maybe a case of it right there. Just get the puck on net and go hard to the net, maybe get a rebound. Don't have to be things of beauty like maybe some of the earlier power play goals were back in October.
I tell you, Chris Pronger is just a tower of power back there. He's real big. He's got long arms. Broke up a great 2-on-1 a couple of minutes ago. And now in the corner, outfought 2 San Jose forwards and ended up with a puck even though he didn't have a stick.
Turek comes out. This time he can't clear the zone. Stewart got in the way. But it's picked up by the Blues. And rushed up the ice by Hanzuk. Here's a shorthanded chance, and they get the shot on goal. Bergevin one-timed it, and Shields came up with a huge stop.
His best save of the evening so far. That was a tricky play. Bergevin killing a penalty, jumped up the ice, got off the quick one-timer, and Shields was there.
Now Stern gets it back to the point. Still 38 on the power play. Marco unable to handle the return pass. Now he gets it around to Mike Ricci. Ricci to Mateau, parked in front. He one-timed it, but Turek was able to block it away. Now Shields waiting for Ragnarsson to show for the puck. 22 left with the power play. 2-1 the Blues in front here in what's been a very offensive first period. 15 combined shots so far, 10-5 in favor of the Blues. Ragnarsson just keeps it in, but then he shoveled it up the middle. Now a break for St. Louis. Conroy's blast is blocked by Rathje. Ragnarsson flips it up the wing for Mateau. Penalty over as Reardon steps back on just as the toe got to the St. Louis line. Tries to slide a pass ahead for Sundstrom. That was out of his reach. Now Nicholas Sundstrom going to it in the corner, double team, but gets the pass to the toe. Now back for Sundstrom. Pronger's there. Cuts off Sundstrom's pass to the puck. And it's cleared around to the near side. Sharks with it again. Here's Sundstrom. Pinching from the blue line is Korolyuk. He lets a wrist shot go. Stopped by Turek. Rebound. Cleared out by Pronger.
Nice move there by Alex Korolyuk, jumping in from the blue line, getting a good shot on the big netminder.
Now here's Korolyuk. Takes the big turn from behind the net. Back to the blue line. Norton fires it into the corner. Entire Persson there. And he'll advance it. This is Jochen Hecht. Hecht playing the Blues this year. A rookie from Germany, one of their former first-round draft picks from back in '95. Here's Korolyuk with a break. Skates in, and it's poke-checked away right at the last moment by Bergevin.
Nice defensive play there by Bergevin. That last-second dive just stripping the puck. San Jose denied a scoring opportunity.
Couple of good opportunities, but the Sharks still trailing 2-1. Get a free Nokia 5120 and $50 instant rebate when you purchase any 2 accessories from ePhones. 7 convenient locations or order online at ephones.com.
Alex Korolyuk with that last good chance down low and a great defensive play. Mark Bergevin perfectly timed. Strips Korolyuk of the puck.
Off the draw, this is Andy Sutton skating in from the point. Takes it down into the corner, wrapping it around, and it sits at the side. McInnes able to get there just ahead of Dave Lowry. Now Lowry and Ron Sutter behind the net. Lowry tripped up by McInnes. Now Lowry gets back up with the puck. Here's Lowry trying to find an open man. It's Sutton coming in from the blue line again. This time McInnes strips it from him, and the Blues clear it out with some good pressure by that line led by Ron Sutter. And Andy Sutton chipping in as well from the point.
Yeah, Andy Sutton, a couple of good time moves down or up from the blue line, jumping in on the play, making things difficult for St. Louis deep in their own end.
Now Sutter tying up Dimitra. Lands on top of the Blues forward. Turgeon out of the lineup. Dimitra, the leading scorer in the lineup for the Blues tonight. 17 goals, 23 assists, 40 points as a shot is stopped by Shields. And again, it's Terry Yate with the scoring opportunity. Or rather, that time it was Bob Bassett. As we check some scores from around the National Hockey League tonight. There's Ottawa leading the Kings.
We got some basketball scores in there too.
3:42 left to go here in the first period. Here's Chris Pronger. He'll send it in for the Blues. Now McInnes was asked about this long stretch of road games for St. Louis, 10 of their next 12. He says, well, it's not bad. We get to come back home for a couple of times within the road trip. He says it's not like San Jose, who go out for 3 weeks at a time. And obviously familiar with the Sharks schedule. Here's Scott Young. Gets around Friesen. A nice stop by Shields. And a great effort on the rebound by Eastwood. And it just went over the net.
Oh, that had a chance. What a great shot by Eastwood on the backhand. I think it might have been deflected. Steve Shields trying to get back. It was just over the crossbar.
That was a backhand with something on it. Here's Domfus in the zone alone. Now Nolan comes in to try and help out. But Pronger clears it down. Rafchi over to the other side. Ragnarsson sends it in, knocked down by Turek. Now Persson across to Pronger. Nice one-time pass up to Bob Bassett. Bassett a little trouble with the puck at center ice. Gets it into the zone, but it's cleared right back out again by Matteau. Now Jeff Finley, number 37. Knocked down by Ricci to Matteau. We're down to 2:25 in the first period. Sturm's shot or pass blocked. Now Nash trying to get it in as he ran into Sturm.
St. Louis, the kind of team that likes to trap through the neutral ice area. That makes it really tough to make any kind of pass cross ice, and that's exactly what San Jose is trying to do.
Korolyuk and Finley battling for the puck. This is Marcus Sturm and Rickard Persson now as Rafchi tried to keep it in with his glove hand. I guess both his hands are glove hands. Here's Korolyuk, and he'll dump it in as both teams change up. Marlowe. Check down there, but it comes to Korolyuk. Tried to make a move behind the net. Conroy wouldn't buy it. Now Norton. Tied up as Jochen Hecht comes down the left wing. Drop pass intended for McInnes. Now Korolyuk tried to play it up the middle, but it didn't come off his stick cleanly. Conroy intercepting. Here's Hecht. And a penalty coming up to Andy Sutton as he got a piece of Craig Conroy in the neutral zone.
He basically clotheslined him just St. Louis side of center ice. I think he was a little worried that St. Louis was going to be in on a 2-on-1 rush. That's why he stuck out his left arm. We'll see it right here. There's Sutton, gets the hand out, grabs Conroy right around the neck. Conroy loses his balance, so St. Louis will close out this first period on the power play.
So Sutton off for the hold here at 18:37.
That's why you got to like these St. Louis Blues and the job they've done.
Join us for NBA action Thursday night when the Warriors play host to one of their Western Conference rivals. The Warriors take on the Houston Rockets live at 7:30 here on Fox Sports Net. Well, the Blues 1 for 1 on one shot on the power play. That was the drive by McInnes that went in off Jeff Norton. And here they come again. Jochen Hecht gives it to Young. Now they set up. Pronger at the left point. McInnes over on the right. Dimitra around to Young. Young working off the half court, pressured by Ragnarsson, but behind the net they get it to Hecht. Hecht makes one move, gives to McInnes, and Shields with the stop. And that one had to stage.
You know that hurt. Al McInnes was one of the best one-timers in the entire NHL. Great timing whenever you one-time a puck, and he steps into it. Maybe from this angle, watch how close it is to his foot when he shoots it. Almost right off his toe when he steps into that shot. I mentioned I played with Al McInnes for 3 years, and that's one thing that really amazed me about the defenseman. He almost stands on the puck when he shoots that slap shot. Steve Shields had the angle covered perfectly, took it right in the belly, and then covered it up.
Ragnarsson, Rathje, Sundstrom, and Ricci are Daryl Sutter's penalty killers right now. And the Sharks have it off the draw. This is Sundstrom working the boards against Pronger. Dimitra moving it back over to Scott Young, who's now on this side. Before that last whistle, Young was set up on the right side. Dimitra digs it out to Hecht. Now McInnes to Pronger. Young can control the pass, and Rathje's able to clear it down. We're under half a minute left in this period, so this power play, if the Blues don't score here, will carry over. Here's Young, the breakaway. Backhander, and Shields got a piece of it with his glove, and then it hit the post. Here's McInnes. To Pronger, he lets it rip. Shields the save. No rebound as he covered that one up nicely.
Well, you're right, Randy. Steve Shields just got a piece of that, then off the outside of the right post. But Scott Young in behind Mike Rathje. Rathje's got to be aware of the late man coming in from the blue line. This is after the original partial breakaway. Here's the cover-up by Shields. Earlier, though, Scott Young with a great job jumping in behind the defense and then getting a good scoring opportunity.
10.9 left in the period, so a key draw here for the Blues, who right now look to be at the very worst set to take a one-goal lead into the dressing room. Stewart will get it off the draw, and he just does clear it over McInnes' stick, and that's going to make it. We're shut out tonight in the Red Wings' 3-0 loss to Montreal. You saw Andy Sutton still in the sin bin for another half minute to start this second period. And the Sharks have to consider killing this critical. Here's McInnes to Pronger. Pronger lets it rip and scores. I don't know if that was tipped past Shields, if he was screened, but it got into the net in a hurry, and it's 3-1.
Well, I think he was partially screened. He turned right away to DeGrace, the referee standing in the corner, pointed to him. Chris Pronger, you know, he's kind of overshadowed with that huge shot to his right, Al McInnes. He's got a heavy shot himself, and he really unloads one here, and I think it goes through a couple of sets of legs. You see good puck movement. Al McInnes right across the blue line. There's Pronger, winds up through the legs of Mike Rathje, just inside that right post. And that's Scott Young skating out front, setting a bit of a screen also. It's 3-1 for St. Louis.
So 2 penalties to Andy Sutton result in 2 power play goals for the Blues. Stefan Matteau talked about the need to stay away from bad penalties, and the Sharks have been burned. There's a shot that Shields stops, can't find the puck, but now steers it to the side after the blast by Finley. So after such a great beginning, with one of the fastest goals to start a game, not only in Sharks history, the fastest, one of the fastest in NHL history. The record is 5 seconds. Things have unraveled for the Sharks. Here's Suter. Wrist shot into a crowd, and Turek saw it and cleared it away. Back to Suter again. He lets one rip that's blocked by Eastwood. Now Matteau trying to hold the zone, but he can't as it comes back to Brad Stewart.
And that's real important for the Sharks. That last shot from Gary Suter, they had traffic in net. Turek, a big guy. You got to get bodies in front of him.
Here's Marleau to Korolyuk under the glove of Turek. Now Sundstrom keeps it in. Back to Korolyuk again. To Norton, who comes down the wing. Norton tried to backhand her, but banned. Now back out to Korolyuk. He doesn't have a shot. Gives it back to Norton. To Marleau, who didn't have a shot. Here's Korolyuk dishing up the wing for Sundstrom. Sundstrom trying to feed a pass back up the middle. Finley blocked that. Now Marleau from the corner around to Korolyuk. And Persson just got there to get a piece of it. But the Sharks hold the zone. This line doing a nice job. But the pass by Korolyuk went between Norton and Marleau all the way down the ice.
Great pressure by that line. And both of those players standing out in front all alone. Jeff Norton and Patrick Marleau. Somehow it found the seam between them. Neither one could touch the puck.
Now the top line almost all the way on the ice. Marleau still out there from the prior group as Nolan tries to pressure a pass. Here's Ragnarsson controlling for the Sharks. Taken right back by the Blues. Here's Hess with some time, but Rathje caught up to him along with Damphus. They get the puck away on the far side. Now the Blues skate out with it again. Here's Jake back to the line. Bergevin's shot, and that deflected over the net and out of play. The goal for Pronger was his 7th of the year. McInnes and Persson getting the assist. They have changed the earlier goal credited to McInnes to Scott Young, but given him an assist. Either way you shake it out, Al McInnes with assists on all 3 of the St. Louis goals.
And they're just getting way too many shots right now just to start the second period. They're at 18 already. Al McInnes credited with 2 shots in that first period. He's been averaging almost 6 shots a game over his last 13 games. So obviously a guy they rely on heavily. Opposition teams haven't been able to deny him those shots.
Yeah, the number really sticks out for McInnes. You mentioned the average coming into today, 66 shots in his last 13 games.
Not bad at all, and he's obviously on that pace again tonight. 2 shots in that first period. And I talked about his wise selections. He's really good at winding up, and if the shot's not there, being able to change his mind right at the last second. Either a pass off the side of the net or a pass across to his defense partner. Very rarely does he ever hit his own guys in front of the net, too. That's another key. And obviously, you're going to get worried when you see one of the hardest shooters in the NHL wind up and you're playing on his team trying to screen a goalie. Very rarely does he hit his own guys.
As they change that scoring play and give that goal to Young, that's not only his 13th of the year, but it's also his 14th career goal against the Sharks. He's been one of those players, and most of the damage was done when he was with Colorado, who just seems to find a way to score when he plays against the Sharks. Puck in the Blues zone. Here's Nolan from behind the net. Tried to backhand pass around to Damphus. Now Pronger tying Vinny up back there. The puck comes back out into the corner. Nolan coming in hard on Reardon, but the puck goes to Conroy to the Blues. Here's Conroy across the line. The drop pass for Pronger. Pronger waits, shoots, saved, and they score. Conroy off the rebound. It was a big rebound off the leg pad of Shields. It's 4-1, and that's it for Steve Shields, as Yevgeny Nabokov will come on to mop up here. Although so much time left, it's unfair to say mop up, but he needs to come up big here if the Sharks entertain any thoughts of getting back into this game? Well, Nabokov for the second time this year.
Yeah, and the first time he only played 15 minutes, but he played very well. Steve Shields, the victimized here. The Sharks defense just backing in a little too much, and we talked about one of the keys being able to stand up with the blue line. You can't stand up unless you have support, and there you see the St. Louis Blues backing off the white jerseys, buying time, and you see the defenseman and the winger both back deep. Nobody picking up the rebound or the rebound attempt. You see the original shot coming here from Pronger. Conroy unmolested in front, an easy goal for him, and that spelled the end of the night for Steve Shields.
That is 8 goals against Steve Shields in the last 4.5 periods. Here's Yevgeny Nabokov now. He gives it to Scott Young, and the backhand shot blocked by Ragnarsson. Now it bounces back out in front of the net, picked up by Ron Sutter. And Sutter tries to fire one ahead. This will go all the way down, touched by Jeff Finley for icing. So Yevgeny Nabokov, for the second time in the last 4 games, has to come in to replace Steve Shields. Last time it was in Florida, or in Nashville, on New Year's Day in a 3-2 Sharks loss to the Predators. And now 3 games later, Nabokov will get more ice time as he comes in the second period.
And he played very well too in spelling relief to Steve Shields. Ended up playing about 15 minutes and was perfect. Only faced 4 shots, but there were 4 tough shots. 3 of those clear-cut breakaways, one of them a partial breakaway. He's seen the pressure before.
Now Ragnarsson can't get it up the boards as Hanzush dumps it, Myers dumps it right back in. Now Nash checked by Rafji. Here's Tyson Nash at the side, a shot by Myers blocked. And Lowry comes up the left wing. His pass intended for Sutter, now a bouncing puck in front. And Nash will get it for the Blues. Just bang it off the boards, out of trouble. 4-1. St. Louis leading here in the second period. What a turnaround. I think you'd be a little unsettled as a hockey club giving up a goal 8 seconds into a game. All the Blues have done is scored 4 unanswered.
That's why you got to have them credit. This wasn't at home for them either. They were on the road. They're in hostile territory. They got things turned around awful quickly and now find themselves definitely in control of this game.
The key was the power play, or the goal by Yank rather, that came just a little over a minute after that first Sharks goal. They scored at 1:23 of the first to tie it. That turns out to be a key turnaround in this game so far as McInnes wrestles it away from Ricci and clears it up ice. Now Roman Turek, not tested all that much tonight, faced only 8 shots. And only 2 of them so far in this period. There's a shot from Norton that goes wide. The toe on the rebound, trying to get it to Ricci, but he was occupied. Now Marco Sturm after it, and he'll clear it away from Young into the corner. But Bergevin will get it back for the Blues. As it's cleared back to center ice, Andy Sutton controlling it.
The Sharks obviously have to get things turned around. If you're not scoring goals, you have to be controlling the play. Getting it deep, getting on the body. As of yet, they've failed to do that.
Here's Korolyuk, watched by Bartechko, around for Norton. This will be intercepted by Pronger. Here's Dimitra. Up to the boards again by Bartechko. Now Andy Sutton puts the body on Hanzush. Lost his helmet on the play, but the Blues still cycling the puck in the zone. Finally intercepted by Korolyuk. A 3-on-2 to Marleau down the left side, back to Corky, and he doesn't get the shot away. Guess who? Chris Pronger there to block it, and now a penalty to Korolyuk as he hauled down Hanzush coming back up ice.
Chris Pronger just covers so much ice. 6'6", a long stick and a long reach. Good job denying the puck to Alex Korolyuk.
Well, just what the Sharks don't need. Another penalty. 13:24 to go here in the second. It's all St. Louis tonight. Alexander Korolyuk in the penalty box, hooking the call at 6:36. And well, to be honest with you, Steve, if you talk about bad penalties, the Sharks have taken 3 penalties in this game, and I would characterize each one of them a bad penalty.
you know, 9 times out of 10 too, and I know coaches will really appreciate this. It's the bad penalties you get scored on, and so far we've seen 2 power play goals off of 2 bad penalties.
Blues 2 for 2, as you say. Young and Pronger have both scored power play goals. McInnes has been in on both of them, and he has assists on 3 of the 4 St. Louis goals. So watch out for number 2, who has the puck now over to Pronger. Here's Gary Suter. Trying to get a hold of it on the near boards. Has help from Nolan. Puck comes out of the crowd to Scott Young. And Nolan, nice job to clear it up the boards and out. Stephane Matteau talked about it in his interview with Drew Remenda, as this will go for icing. The Sharks really felt when they got the news before the game that Pierre Turgeon was out with the flu, that they had to take advantage of an opponent coming into their building without its top player. And keep in mind that before tonight, the Sharks had scored, or that rather the Blues had scored 7 goals in 3 games against the Sharks this year, and Turgeon was in on 5 of them, of the 7. So you figure you take him out, you've got an opportunity to beat this hockey club, even with McInnes and Pronger and the rest. But so far, those guys have just carried the load that Turgeon might normally do.
And St. Louis has done it all year. Turgeon's been out earlier 4 games with back spasm. They played very well. Al McInnes, while he was out almost a month. This team played very, very well. So there's a lot of character players here, a lot of role players, obviously a lot of depth.
An offside play by the Blues as Martechko came into the zone.
Well, Joel Kenville obviously happy with the performance of the team tonight. A former player in the NHL, played 13 years. Saw himself play in Colorado, New Jersey, Toronto, Hartford. I think he finished up in Washington.
As we said, he's got to be one of the top candidates at midseason for the Jack Adams Trophy as NHL Coach of the Year. Got to give, I would think, some real strong consideration to another guy, too, in the Western Conference, Brian Sutter, and what he has done with that Calgary squad. I know that Freddie Brathwaite has had a lot to do with their success over the last month, but Sutter has really got that team playing at a level that I don't think anybody at the beginning of the year thought they would be.
When you look at them on paper, there's not a lot there, and they're getting an awful lot of the players. They're getting an awful lot out of the players that they do have.
The Blues, for the first time tonight, struggling a little bit on their power play here, as they are called for icing for a second time on this man advantage opportunity.
Well, the San Jose Sharks and CCM are offering a beginner hockey clinic this Thursday at the Ice Center of San Jose. Join former Sharks assistant coach and current broadcaster Drew Remenda for an hour and a half of on-ice instruction for just $50. For more info, call 408-999-5823. The beginner hockey player right there. What would you guess the age, Randy?
Under 1.
Enjoying this game, even though his team's not leading.
That guy looks like he could be a 99 born too. Face off here in the St. Louis zone. Sharks still killing a penalty for half a minute or so as Chris Pronger sends it up ice. Dimitra for Hesk, ran into Ragnarsson. And now the puck cleared back out. And the Blues will have to retreat deep into their own zone. But the way this team plays defensively, 4 goals is more than enough on most nights for them to win hockey games. We haven't even talked about the fact that they come in with the best goals against average in all of the NHL. We're looking at the #1 defensive team in hockey right now. We're looking at the #1 goalie in the NHL in Roman Turek in goals against average with a 2.05 and 3 shutouts. This is a guy that lost his first 3 starts this year, but Kenville just kept sending him out there, and boy did he turn it around in a hurry. And you look at his career, very early into his career, and you can see why the St. Louis Blues didn't hesitate at all, giving up a second-round pick to the Dallas Stars to get him.
Yeah, they got a good one when they got Roman Turek, and as you mentioned, didn't start very well this year. You look at his numbers from last year, though. He played in 22 games for Dallas. He only lost 3 times.
As we said, he's never lost to the Sharks, coming in with a record of 5-0-1 into tonight's game in 7 career starts. and a goals against of 1.20. That is awesome.
Not bad at all. Save percentage not up there yet, just a little over 900. Obviously, the rest of the team has a lot to do with the team defense that's been putting on in front of him.
Sharks hockey tonight is brought to you in part by Southwest Airlines. With fares so low, you have the freedom to go places and do things you never thought possible. Fly Southwest Airlines. Sharks have killed this penalty, so St. Louis now 2 for 3 on the man advantage tonight. Ron Sutter's pass didn't get across to Dave Lowry first time, didn't second time either, as Jeff Findlay sends it right back in. Nabokov out to handle it into the corner, and it's pulled out of the crowd by Jeff Norton. Norton victimized on the first goal of the game for the Blues when he tried to clear a puck up the middle of the zone on a penalty kill and went right to Al McInnes, who then fired it off Scott Young into the net. Here's Pellerin now for the Blues, bouncing puck swept back into the corner. Andy Sutton trying to work over Eastwood back there as it comes over to this side. And controlled by Scott Young, who ended up getting credit for that goal that McInnes essentially banked in off of it. But with Big Chopper standing there at the blue line, if you park some bodies in front, it's bound to happen that some of his shots are going to go in off teammates. Pellerin giving the business to Ron Sutter in the corner. His helmet comes off, Sutter's does, and we get a whistle.
You got to like some of the role players here in St. Louis. Scott Pellerin, Mike Eastwood. Boy, you mentioned earlier what a year he's having. His 9th year in the NHL, had a hat trick earlier. There's Pellerin, pretty gritty player for his size, only about 5 feet 9 inches tall. You'll see him knock the helmet off of Ronnie Sutter. Sutter got a couple of shots in of his own, but there you see Pellerin, the helmet off of Ron Sutter. Very good chemistry on the St. Louis team. We talked about some of those role players, guys like Conroy, guys like Eastwood, Pellerin too chipping in. They just picked up another role player, Bobby Basson, just about 3 weeks ago, who was playing earlier this year in Germany.
Here's a line that figures to see more ice time tonight than normal. Bob Basson out there with Nash and Myers as Nash jams a shot off Brad Stewart's stick. Now in the corner, Ricci upended. Here's a chance at the side. Nabokov gets his stick up against his skate and smothers that attempt by Jamal Myers.
Well, Myers, I think, surprised Mike Ricci there, not expecting the hit. He got put on his backside. Myers out of the University of Western Michigan. Here's the hit. Mike Ricci was thinking hit and decided to go for the puck. You see, the strength surprised him a little bit. There's Myers getting himself ready for a collision. Tried the wraparound attempt, and Nabokov was there for the stop.
Almost halfway through the second period here. And the Sharks putting on one of their least impressive home performances of the season so far, down 4-1 here. But they still have lots of time to get back in this. The question is, when are they going to get their next shot on goal? They've been stuck on 8 for a while now. 21-8, the shots in favor of St. Louis. The puck is down low again. The Blues able to make the play that time, and it's cleared up ice to Marco Sturm. Sturm checked by Myers. Play goes on. Here's the Blues with a chance. Nash can't get a pass or a shot away as Gary Suter tied him up. Now behind the net, a penalty to the Sharks. Interference the call as Jamal Myers, who had a strong shift for the Blues, draws a penalty. And St. Louis will be back on the power play when we return. Marco Sturm in the penalty box. Interference to call at 10:30.
Well, you see the original hit by Jamal Myers, knocks down Sturm. Now he's angry, and he's going to retaliate just a little later on. You see him take him in front of the net, hack at him, chop him down. That's the second penalty Jamal Myers has drawn tonight.
They call it interference. They could have called it slashing. You got to call it a little lack of discipline there on Marco Sturm's behalf. The Sharks can't afford to get any further behind. Already down 4-1, the way St. Louis has been playing so far. It seems like an awfully big margin to try and make up. Here's Young. And he gets a weak shot away that went wide. Nabokov steering it back into the corner. Now Jochen Hesch back to the blue line. McInnes winds up. And Damphousse just got his stick out to block that. Nolan comes cross ice to Vinny Damphousse. as those two quickly change on this penalty kill for the Sharks. Ricci and Sundstrom come on, along with Ragnarsson and Rathje. Doesn't seem to matter who's been out there on the penalty kill, though. The Blues have found a way to find success with 2 power play goals. Here's Ricci as they break it up, and he'll clear it down.
Good work there by the Sharks penalty killers, collapsing down low once the puck got low. The 4 men really just outmanned the power play. Ended up getting the puck down the ice.
Ricci brings it back into the zone. Reardon turning away from traffic, and now we have a delayed offside call and a whistle with 8:10 left here in the second period. Mike Ricci really having an outstanding season for the Sharks so far. Who would have thought that at the 46 game mark, the Sharks' top scoring center would be number 18, but that's what Ricci is. 12 goals in 45 games so far. I think the Sharks would probably prefer it if somebody like Patrick Marleau was their leading centerman in goal scoring, but Ricci's really pulled up the slack.
Yeah, he has, and he's been getting it done on the power play too. 7 power play goals. That puts him in the top 7 guys in the entire NHL in that department.
Here's St. Louis trying to set up their power play to that guy McInnes, and that one drifted up into the glove hand of Yevgeny Nabokov, and the crowd showing their appreciation.
And Nabokov making it look easy. That was a blast from Al McInnes, of course. Steve Shields taking a rest for the rest of the evening. Watch where he shoots this puck from. Huge windup, but he gets it off quickly. Al McInnes, watch the windup. The puck just off his right foot, almost standing on it when he lets it go. That stick straight up to the ceiling. That was going well wide, too. You see from that angle, maybe a foot wide. Nabokov, though, not taking any chances. Nice left-handed glove catch.
Still 22 seconds left in the Sturm penalty. Michael Hanzush taking this face-off against Ron Sutter. The Sharks gritty center iceman, and he wins that draw back to Brad Stewart, who clears it the length of the ice. But a quiet night for Roman Turek back there. He hasn't even really had to flash those great goaltending skills all that much. He's faced just 8 shots so far this evening. One of them beating him just 8 seconds in from Mateau. Since then, he's been rather quiet back there.
St. Louis does give up the fewest shots in the league, just about 22 per game. We talked about their team defense. It's not just McInnes and Pronger back there. Look out.
Here's a goal.
That's going to count.
That's going to count. The Sharks pulled Nabokov for an extra attacker, and the puck went in off a Shark stick. It's going to count. I have never seen that happen to the Sharks before in their history, and it's 5-1, and everything that could go wrong tonight has gone wrong tonight.
That's a second goal for Stéphane Mateau. Unfortunately, it's going to come in his own net. St. Louis is getting a delayed penalty. That's why Nabokov heads to the penalty box. Right here, the penalty's being called, and you see Mateau trying to pull it to his backhand, mishandles it, but it puts it right into his own net. And I've seen it happen before. I've been involved in a game where it's happened. I have not seen it happen to the Sharks. There's obviously a first time for everything, and as you mentioned, everything that can go wrong has for the Sharks.
Nolan is contending that one of the St. Louis players touched the puck along the boards during the delay call, and that it should have been whistled down, but the rule says you have to have control of the puck.
Yeah, and you're right. I think a blue shirt did touch it. Here's the penalty holding the stick. St. Louis, well, it doesn't really touch his stick either. It maybe goes off his skate, and there you see Mateau mishandle it. He was hoping Nabokov might slow down and try and grab it. He was past the point of no return, though. You're not going to see that very often.
They still have not credited the goal. It has to go to someone in a blue sweater, and they'll just try and figure out who was closest to the puck when Mateau ended up shooting it into his own net. 5-1, and they give it to Michael Hanzush, obviously unassisted. We still get the penalty against the Blues, though, so the Sharks are now on the power play, but they're down 4. Here's Marleau, tried to get it to Gary Suter. That's broken up. The Blues come ahead 2-on-1. Pass to Conroy, and he got it in his skates. Not a good feed at all. Here's Scott Pellerin. Now, Brad Stewart ahead to Alexander Korolyuk. He's tripped up by Pronger. Now Marleau moved off the puck. And the St. Louis Blues are winning a lot of battles on the ice right now.
They're playing with a lot more desperation, and they don't really have to be up 5-1, but right now I think San Jose a little weak in the confidence department. Nothing seems to be going right for them, and they're really playing that way.
How many times we can say we've seen the Sharks overmatched in every department, but so far tonight I can't come up with an area where that hasn't happened.
Well, they're on their heels right now, and I think they're just questioning themselves. Obviously, they haven't played well over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and nothing seems to be coming easily as it was early in the year.
Here's a shot for Sturm that was blocked. Really got in front of it. Now Ragnarsson tried to feed it through to Macho, and that clears all the way back into the Shark zone. 18 seconds left in the San Jose power play as Martechko is in the penalty box for the Blues.
He got that penalty for holding the stick. Obviously, the penalty still stood even after the goal went in the San Jose net.
Here's Ragnarsson to Rathje. Power play is over. The Sharks did not get a shot on goal. In front and tipped away by Turk. As Sundstrom was parked in front, looking to redirect that pass from Mike Ricci. Here's Dumfus. Shot, save, rebound, and Sundstrom couldn't get to it in time.
A nice shot, too, from Vinny Dumfus, and I thought he misplayed it at the blue line. He regrouped, got an excellent high-rising shot off, just got Turk in the shoulder.
Play stopped with 4:51 left in the second period. It's all Blues, 5-1. Time for tonight's Kragen Auto Parts trivia question. And our question tonight is, who holds the Blues record for the longest tenure as team captain?
I think I know this one.
All right. In the building tonight?
No, but related, I think, to someone in the building.
Okay. We'll have the answer shortly as Andy Sutton controls the puck for the Sharks up to center ice. Jeff Friesen, who, along with the rest of his line mates, caught in a slump. And now for the Sharks, Jeff with just 1 goal in his last 9 games and 2 assists as well. But what was hockey's best line for the first month of the season really had a tough time over the last month. Of course, they're more often than not facing the top defensive pairing of the opponent, as we have an incident up at center ice now with Friesen getting tied up with one of the Blues. I think it was Terry Yake and he that were going at it. We'll get penalties here.
Yeah, Yake unleashed a pretty good elbow to Jeff Friesen. Caught him kind of in the side or the back of the head. Both players were going at it for 10 or 15 seconds. You see the stick across the neck of Friesen. He didn't like it. A couple of shots to the back of the head, and here you'll see the elbow. Oh, gosh. That's a Gordie Howe elbow there, right to the side of the face. Both players picking up 2-minute minors on the play. Well, you mentioned the scoring problems Jeff Friesen has had. It hasn't been through lack of effort, though. He's been finding himself with some pretty good scoring opportunities. In fact, had a penalty shot against these St. Louis Blues. Was it against St. Louis?
Two penalty shots in the same game. Pierre Turgeon hit the post, and Jeff Friesen was stopped by Turk. It was the first time since 1985, 15 years ago, that there were 2 penalty shots in the same NHL game.
And I thought it maybe had never been done. I was actually surprised it was done as recently as 85.
Another penalty to the Sharks as cross-checking the indication, and the Sharks showing their frustration here in the wrong way as Gary Suter is going to go off. And now Yevgeny Nabokov will really be tested for the first time in this game, as he'll face a 5-on-3 from what obviously is a very good, or a 4-on-3 rather, from obviously a very good power play team.
Oh yeah, they're going to be teeing it up from the point. And you mentioned it, frustration. The last couple of calls, I think, have been from frustrated Sharks. Marco Sturm, Jeff Friesen, too, his penalty kind of won through frustration, and Gary Suter had seen enough. The cross-check puts his team down a man in a 4-on-3 situation. Not a lot of bodies out there, so watch for Al McGinnis and or Pronger to be loading from the blue line.
6th minor penalty in the game for the Sharks. Here's McGinnis over to Pronger. With the 4-on-3, they have room and time. But a nice block by Ragnarsson as he put his body down to sacrifice it against Al McInnes, and that's basically what it is. There's another block by Ragnarsson. Starting to get the timing down on McInnes pretty good on this shift. McInnes again. Ragnarsson this time bails out, and Nabokov made a big save.
It's a huge save. Marcus Ragnarsson, though, the great block the first time. The second time took away that passing lane. Broke up a nice pass by Al McInnes down to the side of the net. The third time, though, McInnes with his head up the whole way put a nice shot on the blocker.
Scott Young fakes a shot. Backs off of Ragnarsson to McInnes to Pronger. Back to Young, and it's stopped by Nabokov. Rebound cleared to the corner. Did he stop it or did it hit the post?
Well, I think it hit him. I'm not too sure he knew where it was.
McInnes' shot deflects off to the side for Dimitra. It was actually a pass to Pavel Dimitra. And I think it surprised him a little bit because McInnes gave it a pretty good windup and showed shot. Now McInnes having some trouble getting it in thanks to Ragnarsson. Long penalty kill for Marcus Ragnarsson. Here's McInnes. Pronger. The pass blocked by Rapke, broken up as it's controlled behind the net by Young. Out to McInnes. He winds up. Shot deflected wide. Dimitra at the side. Now a 5-on-4 as Friesen comes back on the ice for the Sharks along with Terry Yates. Young buying some time up the half boards. 9 to go on the power play. Here's McInnes. Other side. Young couldn't control it. He'll dish off to Dimitra behind the net. Now the power play over. Young skates in. Save, rebound, and Nabokov was able to freeze it long enough for a whistle. And Yevgeny Nabokov, coming in here, has made 7 saves.
And he's hearing it from the fans here in the Shark Tank. Rousing applause of appreciation. Some great stops here. 4-on-3 and then 5-on-4. You see the play down low. Marcus Ragnarsson and Mike Ratchey out there the full 2 minutes. They did a great job killing the penalty, although towards the end they were plenty tired. There's the original save and then the stop on the follow-up attempt. Nabokov has been perfect so far.
There's the shots, 28-9 in favor of the Blues, as the Sharks have managed just 3 shots in this period. Here's a nice pass, but it's defended well by Sundstrom and Norton up front. Bartechko behind the net. A wraparound try, and Nabokov got a piece of that. Here's Korolyuk trying to haul it in, and he's got it at center ice. He'll bring it over the line, slotted ahead for Marleau. Marleau back for Korolyuk, and it's poked out by Michael Hanzuk.
Well, that's one thing St. Louis does very well. That's support each other, especially the forwards supporting the defense. They try to stand up. If somebody walks around them, 9 times out of 10, there's a back checker to fill the lane.
1 minute left to play in the period.
Hesh clears it in. Nabokov a little trouble with the puck at the side. Now it's tied up back there by Andy Sutton. Norton comes in. Sutton has Hanzush occupied behind the net as the Sharks come ahead to center. Korolyuk unable to control the pass. Pronger worked it up the wing, then Korolyuk tried to nail Pronger and missed with the body check. Here's Stern the other way, and the Sharks are offside as Korolyuk was slow to skate back to the bench after missing that body check on Pronger, and he got up slowly and is favoring his left leg.
And he's looking to Mike Aldridge, so I would think that maybe it's one of the skate blades. There's a pretty big collision towards the end of the boards. Korolyuk went in. I think maybe he lost an edge. Afterwards, took a pretty good swipe at Pronger, then was kind of slow in getting off the ice, and it's too bad he was. The Sharks had a pretty good shot. Unfortunately, it was offside. Here's the hit that Korolyuk tries to put on Pronger. Pronger sidesteps it, and you see the left foot go straight in. I'm sure that took the edge off of the skate of Korolyuk.
In fact, it might have dislodged the blade right from the boot, the way that Korolyuk was skating off very slowly. It seemed like he quite, well, could have been skating on one blade. Here's a break for the Blues. Mike Eastwood skates in, a backhander. Nabokov covers it up. It's a tricky save coming from the side for Mike Eastwood.
He's got a pretty good backhand. We saw one earlier in that first period that just missed over top of the crossbar. And here, Gary Suter does a good job to get back, really interfere with Eastwood. He's got good size. He's 6'3". 220 pounds. You see him, he thinks he's off to the races. Gary Suter makes a beeline, cuts off his angle, and last-ditch effort by Eastwood gets a weak backhand on Nabokov.
Well, no question he's having a career year, Mike Eastwood. 14 goals, and it was 5 years ago that he scored that many in a season with the Winnipeg Jets. And there's the horn mercifully ending. St. Louis Blues making their way down the corridor and back onto the ice here at the Shark Tank. They lead 5-1 as we go to the third period. Time for the answer to tonight's Kragen Auto Parts trivia question. Kragen Auto Parts, the place to start for parts. Who holds the Blues record for the longest tenure as team captain? I think you were right, Steve. He's related to Ron Sutter. It's Brian Sutter, 10 seasons as captain of the St. Louis Blues. And of course, he would go on to become head coach of the St. Louis Blues as well.
And I believe, and I'm not 100% sure, but I will check on it, I believe they have retired his number, the old number 11 for the St. Louis Blues.
Here's another trivia question for you. What do Patrick Marleau, Mike Ricci, Marco Sturm, Nicholas Sundstrom, and Jeff Friesen all have in common? The answer is neither of them have a shot on goal tonight. And that speaks volumes.
Well, that's the kind of team St. Louis is. They don't give you many opportunities. But with just 9 shots through 2 periods, the Sharks are looking to possibly get 14.
Break down at the blue line. Jack Teller is trying to send Scott Young ahead with it, but the Sharks get it back. Here's Rapture as we're underway in the third period, and right now the Sharks in the midst of their worst home game of the year. Prior to tonight, their worst performance had to be the Chicago loss here not too long ago when they dropped a 5-2 decision to the Blackhawks, a 3-goal loss. And right now, if this margin holds, they'll lose at home by 4.
Well, games like this are going to happen. And anytime you look at an 82-game schedule, you're going to have bad games at home. It just couldn't come at a worse time for the Sharks. They're looking to turn the corner. They've been doing a good job defensively, only giving up 14 goals in their last 8 games. But St. Louis has come out and really blown the doors off them defensively, and going to be back to square one. And they got a lot of time to think about it, as we mentioned during between intermissions. 3 days off before their next game against LA.
And I think if you go back and try to figure out what got tonight started on the wrong foot, I've got to think back to bad penalties.
Well, yeah, and you look back. Andy Sutton took a questionable call on Jamal Myers early, and I think that gave them the 2-1 lead at the time. Was that the power play?
Well, Sutton took a bad penalty 4 minutes into the game.
They scored on that.
He was called for roughing. They scored on that. Then he took a holding penalty a little later on in the middle of the zone, and they scored on that. Not to single out Andy Sutton, but he certainly was guilty of a couple penalties that won't put him in Daryl Sutter's good books, at least not tonight. And against this penalty, or this power play team, you just can't do it. Here's Dimitra, has to back off as Gary Suter had him covered. Eastwood tied up by Brad Stewart in the corner. Now it comes back around to the other side. McInnes with 3 points tonight. Sending it back around. Owen Nolan picks it up. He'll come across center ice on the right wing side. Gets by the first line of defense, Bergevin. Now McInnes back there as Damphousse handles the puck, or Friesen does rather. Trying to get it over to Vinny Damphousse. McInnes trying to bat it out of trouble. Owen Nolan on it. Back around for Friesen. Friesen tied up by Bergevin. Handzus comes in. Friesen able to move it to the side, but out of the reach of Owen Nolan.
Good defense there from Al McInnes, too. They were outmanned behind the net. He stayed out front, though. He knows that's where the puck eventually is going to come, and that's exactly where it came to. Jumps on an easy loose puck and then got it going in the other direction.
Sharks Hockey on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Target. Target, expect more, pay less.
Well, Al McInnes, one of those guys who really worked to get better in the NHL. I was in Calgary his first year there, and he had the big shot, but he kind of struggled, especially in the skating department. Wasn't the best skater, still isn't a real smooth skater, but he gets by and gets by very well. And I think the key to his game now is positioning. Very good defensively because he's a smart guy, and he positions his body perfectly.
You alluded to it earlier that the knock on Al McInnes, particularly when he was in Calgary, was that he wasn't a very good defensive player, and that's just not the case anymore, if it ever was. Sometimes you get those labels and they're unfair. clearly, as we saw even on that last shift, working behind the net with Bergevin against Jeff Friesen, his defensive play is outstanding. It earned him a Norris Trophy last year as the best defenseman in the NHL. And now his teammate Chris Pronger is threatening to make it a 2-year sweep by the St. Louis Blues for that much coveted trophy. The last team to win it twice in a row was the Boston Bruins when Bobby Orr wanted it back-to-back years, but you have to go back into the 1950s to find a time when the same team won it in back-to-back years with different players.
Who was it? The Montreal Canadiens?
Montreal Canadiens back in the late 1950s. Doug Harvey and then again Tom Johnston, who after he retired went on to become an executive for the Boston Bruins. Here's Ron Sutter throwing it from his own zone back to center. It's amazing if you can get one of those players in your team, but to get 2 of them and not have to draft either of them. They traded for both of them.
Yeah, number 1D are very tough to come by.
There's a turnover and a shot by Basson that Nabokov saves, and Ron Sutter will get it back.
I don't know what the Sharks are doing. Very rarely do they go up the gut, up through the front of their own net. And when you do, you've got to be 100% sure. And there clearly, Marcus Ragnarsson threw one up there, not knowing who was out front. Unfortunately for him, it was a St. Louis Blues player.
Mike Eastwood forcing it in as Nabokov lets Gary Suter play it. Up the boards, Mike Ricci cross ice to Sturm. Andrew Sturm, one of those players we mentioned without a shot on goal in the game. Here's Brad Stewart. And that's his first shot of the night. It's saved. High turret. And the crowd reacting to the fact that the Sharks got a shot on goal. That's only their 10th tonight.
It was a good one from Stewart, too. Got it out very quickly. And Daryl Sutter talking about him this morning. He probably has the best shot from the blue line among all his defensemen.
Here's a 2-on-1. Bartechko fakes the pass. Now gives it in to Nabokov with a great save.
Oh, what a save that was. And what flexibility, too. He was almost in the full splits. Kicked out that left toe. Did an excellent stop.
Pavel Demitra was getting ready to raise his arms, but Nabokov denies him. Nabokov is going to get charged with that goal that went in off the toe stick, but he has stopped everything that he's had a chance to stop so far tonight. Here's Nolan. Comes to the blue line, and the Sharks are offside. 15-18 left to go here in the third, as this one is basically right now in a mop-up mode with a 4-goal lead for St. Louis.
Well, what we've seen of Nabokov is being outstanding. And watch this save. Watch that left foot and the flexibility. Ow, that hurts to watch. Gumby back there with great athleticism, good quickness, getting from his right to his left. And that's something that Wayne Thomas, assistant general manager of the Sharks, talked about when he watched him playing in Cleveland in the IHL. He's very competitive and has great athleticism.
Nabokov does not have an NHL start in his career, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say he's going to get one Saturday night against LA.
He's earned one. He's played very well. I mean, coming in cold is sometimes tough. Sometimes it's a blessing in disguise. Not a lot of time to think about it or get nervous, but he's been thrown in twice now and he's responded very well both times.
Cruz picks it up off the boards, guides it ahead for Owen Nolan. Now Friesen behind the net, but he overskated it. Danforth gets a piece of it over to this side. Stepped in by Sutton to Nolan. Nolan trying to pull it off the boards, but Jochen Hecht is there. Hecht now to center for McInnes. Watch out from the blue line, and it's off the blocker of Nabokov. He's even lethal from there. Believe it.
Ask Chris Osgood.
Here's Marlowe, and he runs into 4 Blues defenders. They surround him. A dominant performance by the St. Louis Blues tonight, making you think that this might be the year that St. Louis can finally figure out a way to get past the second round. Nash tripped up at the blue line by Ragnarsson. Ratchi with the puck. Brings it around to Nicholas Sundstrom. Sundstrom take it back into the corner. Now tied up, and it comes out over to Ratchi.
Great situation for Joel Kendall now, nursing the 5-1 lead. He's got his third and fourth lines out there, playing an awful lot. They don't want to disappoint, so you know they're going at 110%.
What a break, too, with Pierre Turgeon, we assume, back at the hotel, suffering from the effects of the flu, to get this kind of a performance out of your hockey club on the road without your top scorer. Gary Suter around for Ron Stern. Stern battling the puck a little bit, and Pellerin jams it as Suter will let go with a wrist shot. Turek the glove save. And you can hear the crowd rather sarcastic with their applause right now as the Sharks squeeze off just their 11th shot of the game, thus the applause. Here's Pellerin. That's hit Brad Stewart. He comes ahead with it to the left side for Dave Lowry. And Turek turns that aside. 12:47 to go, and we'll be back on Fox Sports Net. Pac-10 basketball is right here where it belongs on Fox Sports Net. The teams from the Southland go head-to-head when UCLA takes on USC tomorrow night at 7:30 on Fox Sports Net. Randy Hunt and Steve Conroy live at San Jose Arena. Hasn't been pretty, folks. Here's Stephane Matteau. Shot saved, and the rebound into the corner. Matteau's been in on 2 goals tonight, even though the Sharks have only scored 1. He got it 8 seconds into the game. Fastest in Sharks history. And then he was involved in another play memorable for other reasons for the Sharks. As for the first time in their history, the Sharks scored a goal into their own net when they had pulled the goalie for an extra attacker on a delayed penalty. And I say first time ever, as I suspected it was. I confirmed it with Dan Ruzanowski, the Sharks radio voice. He's seen every game the Sharks have ever played, and he confirms that's never happened before.
Well, I figure it maybe happens once a season, an entire NHL season. We're talking about almost 2,300 games. The delayed call there on Bartechko. He's holding his stick. St. Louis doesn't touch it. Watch Stephane Matteau. Tries to pick it clean, and you see Nabokov leaving. He slowed down momentarily, but he didn't have his eyes on the puck. He wanted to make sure there was a penalty being called. I'm sure he was being waved to the bench also, and just an unfortunate break for Stephane Matteau. He realized a delayed penalty was being called. He knew his goaltender was leaving. He was trying to get the puck back up ice. Unfortunately for him, just had the puck jump off his stick and into a wide open net.
A night that started so promisingly for Matteau with the goal 8 seconds in, and ends up being involved in one of the more bizarre plays in Sharks history. Dumped in by Lubos Bartechko for the St. Louis Blues. They spread their scoring all around the roster. No one with more than a single goal for the Blues tonight, as Turek plays it out of the blue line. Yake, Young, Pronger, Conroy, and Handzus with the St. Louis goals. 5 unanswered after that early goal by Matteau. And here's Handzus pushing it back to the blue line, but it came out before Bartechko could bring it back in. And the clock stops with 11:29 left to go here in the third. We will see St. Louis one more time, and that will be when the Sharks come back off their last long road trip of the year. It actually ends up being a 7-game road trip with the All-Star break breaking up part of it, but the Blues will be back here on February 23rd as the Sharks will start a homestand that night. What's a little distressing as well, after losing to Florida here the other night, the Sharks are now 0-3-1 in the first game after a road trip of more than 3 games.
A lot of people talk about it, that kind of relaxed feeling that teams have after they've been on the road coming home. And obviously, I guess that's been happening here in San Jose.
Sundstrom ahead to Marlowe. Now Korolyuk, he can't keep it in the zone as it's forced back out past center ice to Brad Stewart. Stewart tonight pairing again with Gary Suter, turns it over. There's a blast that goes wide. Heshta's shot. Nabokov with glove save.
I don't think I've seen as many turnovers, especially by the Sharks defense, in a game this year. And we mentioned earlier, when things go bad, they go awful. They've really been going awful for San Jose.
10:28, and what this game could use now is fewer icings.
Yeah.
Well, at home, Sharks with that 1-4 record in their last 5 home games. Before that, they were very good at home, 10-4-2. And look at how important the home ice is going to be down the stretch here because of all the road games in the first half of the schedule. 20 of the last 37 are here.
Well, and it's not time to panic yet, obviously. It's just one game. You just want to make sure it's not a recurring theme. They had been playing better defensively the last 5, 6, 7 games. All of a sudden tonight, a bit of an aberration. They've got to get control of this, though, turn things around quickly, or before you know it. And because of the Sharks having as many games they do in hand on a lot of teams behind them, they could be out of a playoff spot.
Well, this is certainly a game that presents an aberration in the fact that the Sharks are down by 4 goals and were really out of this game by, well, early in the second period. But they've only won 3 of their last 12 going into tonight. Stern sends it in. As Roman Turek directs a little bit of traffic. Trying out there to put some bodies on people, and that's what they're doing for the Sharks. Dave Lowry with a hit on the far side of the ice right after Andy Sutton got the body on Jamal Myers. Now Ron Stern with a hit on the near side, and Finley pays the price as the Blues are feeling the brunt of the Sharks' frustration here on this shift. Ricci flips it up ice, bouncing toward Matteau. Oh, and that almost went between the legs of Roman Turek, but he was able to cover up. Stephane Matteau involved again. We'll be right back. 9.5 to go in this one. 5-1 St. Louis.
The Sharks still have lots of hockey to go, about half a period here. Nice check there by Ronnie Stern, finishing his check on Jeff Finley. He was slow to get up.
And right off the face-off, another puck into the pads of Roman Turek, who, before we went to break, made a great save here on Matteau.
Looked like an innocent dump in there by Ricci, and Matteau gets to the bouncing puck. Good eye-hand coordination, pokes it through. Turek there with the stop.
Well, you don't get to the Little League World Series by accident. Stephane Matteau did.
He was there with Pierre Turgeon, who unfortunately is not in tonight's game for St. Louis.
I didn't even want to think about what the score would be if Turgeon was playing. I don't know, though. Sometimes the rest of the guys pick it up in the absence of a star player like Turgeon, and I think that's been part of the case here tonight for St. Louis. Big guys back at the hotel. Everybody else has to shoulder a little more of the responsibility, and the St. Louis Blues really played that way all night. Rapchi trying to work it up for Marco Sturm. All across to Ragnarsson as the Sharks change up. Damphus handles a pass over 2 lines. Mike Ricci showing some battle scars from tonight. Fox Sports Net has your Saturday covered with a double dose of Pac-10 hoops. At 1 o'clock, the Stanford women host Oregon. And then at 3, the Cal men visit Oregon State. It's a Saturday Pac-10 doubleheader right here on Fox Sports Net.
Well, Mike Ricci and Scott Pellerin getting at it again. Nice takedown there by Mike Ricci. One-handed throw. Pellerin not real happy about it. Shot to the back of the head.
Owen Nolan sends it in from center ice. Turek able to knock it down as it hopped over his stick. Damphus trying to work it for Owen Nolan over his stick and back to Pronger. Hanzus. And Nabokov gets that down off the glass. Kept in by the Blues. Here's Hanzus. Pulls it off the boards. Dimitra with Damphus on his back. To Hanzus again. Brad Stewart knocks him down. Here's Damphus with it. Benny ahead for Jeff Friesen. Now Damphus to center. Shakes off a check and flips the puck deep for Owen Nolan. Bonner able to clear it up the boards, though. And back down to Gary Suter. As we mentioned, St. Louis getting both McInnes and Pronger via trades, and probably the best bargain turned out to be the deal for McInnes. They had to give up Phil Housley, who's certainly resurrected his career this year with an outstanding season in Calgary. They gave up Housley and 2 number 2s for McInnes and a number 4. The deal for Pronger was a little more costly as they gave up Shanahan. There's a shot that is stopped by Turek. Now Korolyuk trying to dance away from Conroy. Back behind the net. Sundstrom trying to make a play back to Marlowe. Marlowe's been held without a shot in the hockey game as it's back for Jeff Norton with 6:55 to go. Here's Korolyuk, splits the defense, breaks in, pulled down, and a penalty shot. Oh, can you believe it? In a game like this, Alexander Korolyuk is going to get a penalty shot. So hang on. This one is not 1-2 out quite yet.
Well, we've seen everything else. Why not a penalty shot? This will be the 3rd penalty shot involving these 2 teams. And we'll see the great speed of Alex Korolyuk split the defense. Jeff Finley. You see, Corky was actually going down before Finley really got the stick on him. Just as he touched his arm, Korolyuk goes down. Wrecks his scoring attempt, so Alex Korolyuk will get a penalty shot. One of the most exciting plays in all of hockey.
I'm going to put my money on Alexander Korolyuk to score right here. Here comes Corky.
And what a classic move from Alex Korolyuk. Fakes on the forehand, goes to the backhand. Turek seems to have the bottom of the net covered, but he gets good height on the backhand, lifts it over the pad. You see, fake shot, backhand, just by the pad, the outstretched leg pad of Roman Turek. This from the reverse angle. Nice goal for Alex Korolyuk.
Alexander Korolyuk gets the Sharks' 2nd goal of this game. It's his 12th of the season, and it matches his total for all of last year. And it's 5-2. 6.5 to go now as those who stayed here, and I have to say that a lot left after the 2nd period. I'm sure what they feel was their money's worth right there, as Alexander Korolyuk scored a penalty shot goal for the Sharks. Here's Tyson Nash with a shot, a backhand wheel around attempt by Bob Basson, stopped by Nabokov. Now Basson and Korolyuk are going to fight. Basson lands a right, and Corky's got his hands full here against a very tough fighter in Bob Basson.
Pound for pound, he might be one of the best in the league again. I saw him really handle Steve Smith, now the Calgary Flames, at the time a teammate of mine in Chicago, 6 feet 4 inches tall. But Alex Korolyuk handled himself very well.
You gotta love the fire he showed there as he just took one look at Basson, dropped him, and away they went. That's his 2nd fighting penalty this season. The first one you'll recall back when the Chicago Blackhawks were here in October, and Korolyuk battled with Doug Smolek.
Well, you see that little fake of a shot on the forehand just to freeze Turek ever so slightly, then to the backhand to score, and here the 2 players score off. Remember, it was Alex Korolyuk who went toe-to-toe with Andy Sutton a couple of years ago. There you see Basson not really connecting with any of those rights. Corky got in a left of his own before he started to lose his balance.
Korolyuk might have landed the only punch in that fight.
Yeah.
I think you were telling me not too long ago about a battle you saw Bob Basson in with Steve Smith, now of the Calgary Flames, in which Smith, who's a tough guy, got his clock cleaned by Bob Basson.
Yeah, I was talking about that. Smith at the time with the Chicago Blackhawks, and I was a teammate of his, and Bobby Basson, I think, really surprised him. He's like a caged animal when he fights. Not real big, only about 5'11", 180 pounds, but he knows how to throw them.
I think he got caught off guard a little bit there by Korolyuk as we take the ice level look at the penalty shot by Korolyuk.
Look at how much net Turek is covering. But that quick move, what great agility, great balance. Korolyuk going to the backhand and getting it up and over the pad of Turek.
Now we've seen a little bit of everything here tonight again. Certainly hasn't lacked for things to talk about. Here's Ron Stern. send it ahead in the direction of Ron Sutter. Let the Blues bring it back out to center.
One more goal, and all of a sudden, San Jose right back in the game.
There's Bergevin sliding it over to Al McInnes. McInnes tried to quickly wheel it over to Scott Young. That didn't connect. And Lowry forces it back into the blue zone. 5:33 left to go here in the third period. Stewart broke it up at the blue line. Now gets it ahead. Stern trying to chase it down. He's got it on the far boards. Sends it back around for Ron Sutter. Sutter trying to beat Bergevin to the puck, but Bergevin is able to clear it down. Now here's Lowry. Lets it go to Ron Stern. At the blue line. Suter a shot. Rebound. Referee knocked down. He quickly gets back up. Shot saved by Turek. And the Blues will clear it out of play. And we'll have a stoppage with 5:04 left. 5-2 St. Louis.
Sharks family packs are back at 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 Pepsis, and save $28 when the Sharks host the New York Islanders on Saturday, January 29th. Look for coupons in the San Jose Mercury News Sports section on Friday, or log on to mercurycenter.com and click on Sharks Center Ice. You must present the family pack coupon to receive the family pack discount. And here's that last shot by the Sharks. Good pressure by this fourth line. And a quick kick save there by Roman Turek.
Now good aggressive play by this line of Ricci, Mateau, and Sturm. If you joined us late, Todd Harvey a scratch tonight due to an injury that he suffered here against Florida. Delayed penalty coming to the Sharks, and the Blues are going to get a power play here. And now Rathje knocking one of the Blues down to the ice in the corner. That was Todd Reardon that was tied up with number 40, and Rathje shoved him down.
Well, earlier on the play, Stéphane Mateau took a penalty through the neutral ice area, and I believe it's Demitra he gets a piece of. That was a little earlier than that. There you see Mike Rathje taking Demitra into the boards. There's the big hit. I believe that's Hanzus
I thought it
left
was
his
Reardon.
feet. Earlier than that, though, it was Mateau who takes the penalty.
Well, right after our game tonight, Fox Sports News delivers expert analysis and key interviews along with the sensational plays of the day. Senators and Kings highlights. The Mavericks against the Warriors. And the Rockets versus the Kings, along with the news out of Dallas today as the Cowboys fired their head coach. All that coming up after the game. Still 4:39 left in this one. Stéphane Mateau, who has certainly been a central figure tonight in the penalty box.
Well, he's scored his first goal in a long time, just 8 seconds into this contest, and then unfortunately had one slide off his stick into a wide open net. Goal credited to St. Louis.
Now the Blues on the power play for the 6th time tonight. They are 2 for 5. As Roman Turek leaves it for Al McInnes. And the Blues certainly don't have to do anything risky here right now with a 3-goal lead. The Sharks, on the other hand, have to gamble a little bit if they're able to get possession in the St. Louis zone, even when they're shorthanded. Here's a chance at the side for Bartechko. Nabokov got a piece of that. Now it's cleared up to Marco Sturm, and he'll send it back down. Magnuson slapping at it, and that'll be a 2-line pass called against the Sharks. Haven't seen a whole lot in a while of players from the Sharks top line, but now Daryl Sutter does send Owen Nolan and Vinny Damphousse out. Jeff Friesen, who does do his share of penalty killing as well. He has 2 shorthanded goals this year. Will sit this shift out.
Well, obviously a lot of pressure on this first line, and I think they're starting to feel it. Early in this year, the goaltending was really sharp. The number 1 line was just clicking on all cylinders, and that was large part why the Sharks were so successful. Obviously a lot of the role players playing well too, but right now the top line not scoring. Goaltending has been a little shaky over the last 2 or 3 games. And these guys are going to have some time to think about this one. 3 days off before the LA game. Steve Shields, I'm sure, starting to feel a little pressure.
Well, yeah, clearly since the trade of Vernon, Shields has not settled into the number 1 role at all in the way that the Sharks had hoped. Not to say that he's not going to, but the going has been rough the last little while. And on the other side of things, the goal support that Shields was able to rely on earlier in the year just hasn't been there.
Yeah, it's funny. Obviously, a lot of pressure taken off you as a goaltender when you're nursing a 2-3 goal lead. And that was the case in the first 20 games of the season for the Sharks.
Nolan blasting one that comes back to Terry Yake on the near board. Now Finley over to the other side. Shot deflects. Nabokov may have gotten a piece of it. As some guys are getting power play time for St. Louis that normally don't. And guys like McInnes and Pronger are getting a chance to rest their arms. Finley, the pass tipped to the side, and Nabokov reacting to that as Jochen Hesht was right at the side. 5 seconds to go in the Mateau penalty. Here's Yake. He started it all off for St. Louis with a goal a minute 23 in to tie it. And now the power play is over. Here's a chance for Sundstrom. His shot wide. To the corner, Mateau to Ricci. Can't handle it. Ragnarsson back to Rafchi. He'll wind up, let it rip, and it just trickled wide. Rafchi again down to the corner for Mike Ricci. To Mateau. Might as well throw it in the at the net. Stefan Mateau. The way it's been going tonight. Here's Mateau with a blast that's blocked. Mateau again. Stefan dumps it off into the corner for Sundstrom. Gets it back. Now around for Mike Ricci. Ricci with Ragnarsson set for a shot. Didn't get it to him first time. Now Ragnarsson unable to control the pass as Mateau has it on the near side. Under 2 minutes left now. Here's Mateau in traffic. Ragnarsson cuts in from the blue line. Keeps it in the blue zone. And now we've got a penalty called.
Somebody's getting a misconduct penalty. It looks like it's Mike Ricci. This might be, and I see a stick on the ice. Jeff Finley had lost his stick. He might have pushed it into the corner. But I'm strictly guessing now. Jeff Finley was out there for an awful long time, lost his stick. There's the stick in the corner. He dropped it in front of the net. Somehow it got to the corner. Now, it might have been kicked there. I know Finley earlier had kicked it over into the direction. But if in any way Mike Ricci was guilty of trying to interfere with that stick, he might have got the extra call. Now let's watch. There's Ricci. I think he's just maybe yelling at the ref right now. There goes the stick. Yeah, he's just talking to the ref. It had nothing to do with the stick on the ice. Obviously something that either Gregson or DeGrace didn't like hearing and gave him the 10-minute misconduct.
That must have been a very pointed comment to immediately get that sort of attention here. So a 10-minute misconduct to Ricci. He goes right to the dressing room, as everyone will hear in just a little over a minute. Scott Pellerin dumps it into the zone. Nabokov, who has not been beaten for a goal tonight, despite the fact that one will be charged against him. And I'll be very surprised if we don't see Yevgeny Nabokov in goal against the LA Kings on Saturday night. It seems the right thing to do, and we'll find out, I'm sure, from Daryl Sutter if that's what he intends to do soon enough. I don't think they'll be coy about it in this circumstance. Sutter, left side, shot stop. And we're down to half a minute to go, and the Sharks will have to regroup here on Saturday against the LA Kings, who have had to do some regrouping themselves over the last month as they hit a real bad stretch.
Another team kind of in the same situation, just an outstanding start out of the gates, but even more so than the San Jose Sharks have really stumbled of late.
The St. Louis Blues with this win will move to within a point of Detroit and within a point of the top seed in the Western Conference as they put on quite a show here at the Shark Tank tonight. This one's in the books. The Sharks lose at 5-2. It matches their prior worst home defeat to the Chicago Blackhawks by the same score. About the only positives to salvage out of this one: the goal for Mateau, he needed one, the play of Nabokov when he came in, and our Sprint PCS play of the game, the first ever penalty shot goal for Alexander Korolyuk.
And he executes perfectly the fake right there. Quick backhand. just up over the pad of Roman Turek.
So the Sharks head off. Their record falls a game under 500 for the first time this year to 20-21-5, Steve.
And I don't think anyone would have expected that, especially with the great start they had, 7-2. They've got some time, though, to work on things. 3 days off before the LA game, and obviously that's going to be a very large game for the Sharks.
And that is our next Sharks game on Fox Sports Net. Saturday night, our extended coverage beginning at 7 as the Sharks take on the Los Angeles Kings. A reminder that coming up next, it's Fox Sports News with a complete wrap-up of the day in sports and a wrap-up of a busy night in the NHL. For Steve Conroy, Drew Remenda, our producer David Coppin, and our director Jim Lynch, I'm Randy Hahn. Reminding you of the final score, the Blues 5, the Sharks 2. You've been watching exclusive coverage of the San Jose Sharks on Fox Sports Net.